Well, welcome to Coffee and a Chat. And yes, the scenery has changed a little, but it's one of those things where, I just kind of had to change location tonight because I'm recording at a time when there's other things going on in the house. So, no big deal, right? Doesn't matter where I'm at. And maybe you wanted a little change of scenery. I mean, it's still the same face, but everything around it has changed. Okay, so I want to share with you guys a story that happened a long time ago that's kind of funny, but this event that happened had a huge impact and changed a lot in my life. So I don't even know how many years ago, long time ago. And my mom and dad had come to visit us. They lived a ways away, and so they would come up ever so often and stay for 3 or 4 days, and we'd hang out and do stuff, right? And so this particular time when they came, we were working on some stuff at our house. I don't remember what we were doing, but we were doing some kind of project there. And usually when they would come, there was this Chinese restaurant that they loved to go eat at. And so my dad was like, oh, we can't really go into town and go eat at the restaurant because, we're in the middle of this project and everything, but can we get takeout, do you think? And I'm like, oh yeah, they do takeout. So yeah, we'll get takeout. So he's like, okay. So we called in an order and, and did all that. And then they said, it'll be about 20 minutes. Isn't that how long it always takes? And then they'd have it ready for us. So we're like, okay. And so I told my dad, because we were kind of out in the country, I said, we should probably leave now. And especially if traffic's bad, then we'll get there just about in around 20-25 minutes. And so he's like, okay, that's what we'll do. So my dad and I took off to town, and my mom stayed with the kids and did what, kept working on whatever we were working on. It was just my dad's in my way to get out of a little bit of work. No, my dad wasn't like that. He was in the middle of it. I'm sure he told my mom, don't do anything until I get back. And she probably did everything she could because she was, very confident in what she did. So we took off to town, and as we left the country and got into town, the traffic really started getting heavy. And pretty soon, there was 2 lanes on our side, moving in the same direction, but it was a parking lot. We were kind of stuck there, and it's in town. There's no shoulder. There's no place to pull over or anything. I mean, you're just stuck there. So if you got claustrophobia, good luck. So we're sitting there stuck in traffic, and we're like, we're fine with it. We're just visiting. And then my dad goes, hey, what's that person doing? And, and he's looking in the rearview mirror. So I turn around and look, and there's this car behind us back, I don't know, about 4 cars behind us. And they're just honking their horn, and you can tell they're just, going all crazy. And, and they're trying to drive between cars. And I was like, oh my goodness, and I'm thinking they must have an emergency, a medical emergency. And, and we're looking, trying to see if there's some way we can get over, but there was no room to get over anywhere. We were just stuck where we were. Well, they kind of, ever so often the other lane was the fast lane, and it would kind of move. And so every time it would move a little, boy, she'd jerk over into that lane and almost get hit. And then, as she got closer, it was summer, we had the windows down. You could hear her yelling some pretty colorful things. And then she was giving everybody a 1-finger salute as she went by. And so I'm pretty soon as she's getting up close, and she gets behind us, and she just lays on her horn, and motioning for us to get out of the way. And my dad's just like, there's no place to go to get out of the way, And I'm like, I don't think it's so much that she has like a medical emergency or something like that. I think she's just late to go somewhere. And my dad's going, yeah, you're probably right. And he goes, but what are you going to do? We're just stuck here. And so pretty soon that other lane started to move, and she whips in there and almost hits, a person, and, gets in there. And as she's coming by us and giving my dad her salute, he's just, with all 5 fingers, he's just waving back, hey, how you doing? Have a great day. And, and she goes on, oh, she is upset. So she only gets like, maybe in front of one more car in front of us. She didn't make it very far, and then she just couldn't get anywhere. And our lane started moving slowly, and so we were almost to where we needed to turn in to this parking lot, and then the Chinese restaurant was actually in the parking lot. And so as we're getting close to it and she gets up there, she pulls into that parking lot. Now there was a strip mall there and some other eating establishments, and so it's like there was probably, and people also would use that parking lot as a shortcut to get to another road. Instead of being stuck in traffic, they could whip through the, not a good idea, but they could whip through that parking lot faster to get over to one of the other streets. And so I said to my dad, what are the odds that she'd be going the same place we are? Because there's about 20 different places that she could be going right here. And he goes, yeah, that would be pretty weird. And about then she took a turn in the parking lot back to where there was this Chinese restaurant and a fast food place. And he goes, well, the odds are now 50-50. And so pretty soon she pulled into the parking lot of the Chinese restaurant, and we pulled into a space not right by her. She was kind of back on the side, and we just parked where the cars would park for takeout. And so because you're really quick in and out, and they'd have the special little places that you could park. So we pulled in there, and she's getting out of her car and she's running into the restaurant, but she's also really eyeing us and I go, I bet she's wondering if we followed her in here because we're mad or something. And my dad goes, yeah, I know. She looks a little worried, doesn't she? And I said, well, I figure she's here for one of three things. She's late because she's meeting somebody for lunch. She's late to pick up her takeout, or she works here and she's late. And he goes, yeah, I think that, he goes, it's probably one of those. And I go, well, why don't we just wait like an extra 5 minutes? Because if she's meeting someone, then in 5 minutes they'll have her seated. She'll be back there sitting with them. We're not going into the dining room because we're just getting takeout, so she won't even have to interact with us. If she's getting takeout, well, and she's late, they'll already have it ready for her, and she should be coming out that door any minute and leaving. And if she works here, well, I guess it'll at least give her enough time to put on her apron and maybe go get busy doing something so she doesn't have to meet us. And so we were in agreement. Yeah, we'll just wait here an extra 5 minutes because it was about time to pick up our food, and an extra 5 minutes wouldn't hurt anything. So we just sat there and visited, and pretty soon my dad goes, well, it's been about 5 minutes. I haven't seen her come out, so I don't think it was takeout. So she's either sitting in there eating or she works here. And I go, yeah, and I guess we're going to know pretty soon. So we decided to go in. Now, used to go to this Chinese restaurant all the time, like all the time. And so I know that when you walked in there, they'd always say, welcome to whatever the name of the restaurant. I don't even remember the name of it. But, welcome to, the restaurant. Are you here to dine in or take out? And then you would tell them, and then they would get you situated. Okay, so as we came in, she was the hostess as we entered the door, and she's going, welcome to, oh, no. And she goes, don't tell me you were in one of the cars I passed. My dad goes, yeah, we were. Okay, look, I'm sorry. Please don't complain about me. Please don't get me fired. And my dad's like, oh, we're not here to do anything like that. He goes, we're here to, to get takeout. We ordered some takeout. And she goes, okay, it's just that I'm, and then she started in, I'm working 3 jobs. I'm a single parent, and all the stuff that was going on. And I can't get from the one job here on time ever. I'm always a little late. And they're telling me they're going to fire me if I don't start getting here on time. And so that's why I was thinking, I can't afford to lose this job. And there was all that traffic. And I just wanted people to get out of my way so I could get up here. And yeah, and I probably wasn't very nice. I know I was, one finger saluting everybody. And I wasn't saying nice things. And you could probably hear me because all our windows were down. And all my dad's like, yep, we could. But he goes, we all have bad days. We're not here to judge you. And, we just want our food. And so she went on, a little bit more and stuff. And eventually we got our food and were able to leave. But when we got to the car, my dad goes, that's really making me think. And I go, what's it make? Because it was making me think too. And I'm like, what's it making you think? And he said, it's a really small world. He goes, how many people live here? What, about 100,000? And I'm like, yeah, about. yeah, what were the odds that she would be going to the exact same place we were? And I'm like, well, I don't believe in coincidences. Everything happens for a reason. And he goes, well, I'm sure anybody else probably would have gone in and just been really mad at her. And he goes, but we weren't, because, well, I don't know about you, but I know I have bad days, and I've acted the fool before because I was having a bad day. And I go, oh, me too. And I go, in fact, that's what I was thinking of, because at that particular time, I was in a larger church, and I was part of I was on staff there. And one of the things I did was on Sundays was I was in the prayer line. And so when people would come for prayer, I was one of the people that would pray for them. And so probably pretty much any given Sunday, I would pray for like 15 to 20 different people that would be in my line. And, most of the time I didn't know them. They might be visitors or whatever. A lot of times it was people I didn't know. So I go, Dad, with the prayer line and everything, what I kept thinking is, you don't know who you're yelling at or whatever when you're having a bad day like that and you're just mad and you're just in a hurry. And I thought, what if that was me? And I was, I wouldn't be one finger saluting, but I might be yelling. I might be honking my horn. I might be, I don't even know if I'd drive that crazy, but I'm sure, I might let people know that I'm frustrated, I'm upset. And what if she was in our car and I was whipping around her and I was at her? And then come Sunday morning, she's in my prayer line. That would be awkward. I would feel horrible and probably like I couldn't pray for her. I don't know, Dad. And since a lot of times I don't know who the people are that are in the prayer line, they could be the checker from the grocery store that I was impatient with, or the teller that I got frustrated at because they gave me the wrong slip, or what, all the different little things that we can get upset about. And I said, I don't want to be that way anymore. I don't want to let things get to me. I don't want to be impatient. I want to treat everybody like they might be in my prayer line on Sunday. And my dad was like, interesting thought. But that really impacted me. And ever since then, it did. It made a change in my life. And there, there are times, like especially at the grocery store, there's that little old lady who's now me. But that little old lady that she's pulling her change purse out and she's trying to get enough money for her bill, and then it's like, oh, I still need more, okay, and I have some over here, and she's looking over here, and I think I've got a quarter in this pocket, and she's trying to find the money. There have been times when there was one little old lady, she was really struggling, and she kept saying, honey, I'm so sorry, I'm holding up this line. I'm like, that's okay. You're in front of the most patient person there is. That's because I'm learning to be patient, and you're just giving me opportunity to learn more. And and anyway, she was still short, and I asked the checker, how much is she short? And she said about $5. And the lady's like, oh, I don't know if I've got $5, and I maybe should put something back. And and I'm like, no, that's okay, here's $5, go ahead. And she was like, oh, I'll pay you back. I'm like, no, don't worry about it. Someday I'm going to be you, and I might need somebody to help me. So, and anyway, I run into stuff like that all the time. Or people just being, here what I run into all the time is when you're at a four-way stop and nobody seems to know whose turn it is. And then they're like, one person is motioning for you to go and another person is pulling in and almost hitting you. And that's where I get really frustrated. Like, okay, let's all read the driver's manual and remember how we do this. It's not that hard. And, and I have to remember, what if that person was in my prayer line? And that is, even though I'm not part of a ministry team in a church right now, we've got a prayer line that happens out front of our house. We have, I've said this before, in some other videos, but we have accidents happen out here all the time, and people that need help. And, we could get really upset with them, that they just took out the mailbox or just tore up the yard, or, all the different things that happen. But instead, my husband and I both, we try to help them, try to make it a less stressful thing, try to calm them, and we pray for them. I told about the guy that was here trying to sell some stuff, but, and that was frustrating me, and I had the wrong attitude. But then before that was over, my husband's praying for him, and we're trying to minister to him. And I would much rather be that person than the one that's getting all upset. So as you're going about your day today, it is a small world. And if you start acting the fool because you're mad or frustrated, and I don't care what excuses we make for ourselves, if we're a follower of Christ, we need to be a good representation of who he is. And he's not out there getting all impatient, and he's very patient. I know he is with me. So that person that you might get upset with, that person that you want to get mad at because they just hit your car, just stop. Make sure they're okay. And, cars can be fixed, and people can't always. So make sure everybody's okay. How can I help you? And I'm telling you, especially because I had that happen to me where a gal hit me, and it was her fault, and she knew it was. And I made sure I had my kids, a couple of my kids with me when she hit me, and she totaled my car. I was in a little bitty Honda, and she was in this great big SUV, and so she totaled my car. I made sure my kids were okay, and I didn't even really worry if I was okay. I wasn't even thinking about that. And I got out of the car, and she's like, "Don't yell at me, don't yell." I'm like, "I'm not going to yell at you. I just want to know, are you okay? Are you hurt? Are you?" And she's like, "Why are you being nice to me? This was my fault." And it's like, doesn't matter right now, We can sort all that stuff out later. Right now, I just need to know you're okay. And she just started crying because, she was ready for me to just come out mad at her. And, and I told her, at one time, I probably would have. But God's taught me that it's just not worth that there's other things that are more important. So I hope I always keep that together, and that I remember that, and that I don't act the fool because I'm late or frustrated or having a bad day. So just wanted to leave that one with you guys to think about. That person that you're acting the fool might be somebody that's going to show up in your life. In fact, I would say odds are really great that they will be, because this world is so much smaller than what we realize. All right. I love you guys. Maybe we'll get back, or maybe we'll have a couple more videos here. I don't know. But I hope you have a great day, and I'll talk to you later. Bye.